Look at the watch Joy made me. Isn't that cool? It has like the date on it, and then this is the clasp. And it's kind of hard to undo right now because I have long nails, but on the back, it has a little tiger. She's been really into making watches lately, and I asked her to make me one, so she did. I'm going out to take some photos for my friend who's graduating, and it's actually so nice today. I'm wearing just a light sweater, tank top, shorts, or like I did them myself, but I for once had time to do my nails, which they're not perfect, but they'll do. If you're asking how exams went, I think they went fine. I'm trying to think about whether this exam season went better than last exam season, but I think it was more or less the same. I feel like maybe last season I did a lot more practice exams before going into the exam. This season I kind of just reviewed my notes and said, okay, I know what I know and I don't know what I don't know. But my exams this semester were very long. They were all 4 hours each. Last semester they were only 3 hours. And you really used up that entire 4-hour time period. So I guess we'll see what happens. I think, okay, let me find a place to sit and then we can chat about how the semester went. Okay, I don't know why, I just always like sitting on the floor a lot better. Every time I drink out of one of these straws, because it's so long compared to this container, I just feel really silly. But at the same time, I'm not gonna go out and buy shorter straws just because, you know, like I have other containers that are taller than this, so I need this long straw, but whatever. Anyway, I have about an hour before I have to go out and take photos, so I thought we could just recap how this semester went. So as a reminder, I had, what did I have? I had legal writing, which was a continuation from last semester. I had contracts, I had criminal justice, and I also had constitutional law. I will put in what I said at the beginning of the semester about these classes, but now that the semester's ended, I think I said that con law would be my least favorite class, and it really, really was. The class that I am having a hard time wrapping my head around is constitutional law, just because right now we're talking a lot about how the Constitution was formed, and I don't really know a lot about American history, so that's kind of a struggle. Yeah, I don't know how I did on the exam. I hopefully did okay. You know what con law feels like? Con law feels like I've learned a lot about United States history and the way that the Constitution operates in conjunction with the courts and whatever, but at the same time I felt like I sort of learned nothing. It's like, okay, there are systems in place, but I don't know, it was very interesting. It definitely gave me a lot to think about, but whatever, that's in the past now. Don't ever have to think about it until the bar exam, so that's that. Contracts, I loved contracts. Right now, I think I like contracts the best just because very clear. I think the cases are pretty interesting. In my opinion, right now, it's really easy to pick out what the main takeaway from each case is. I am a very detail-oriented person, and so I really like that you had to kind of analyze every little thing, every little detail, every little word, every little date, scenario, what was happening. I really, really enjoyed the class, and I really enjoyed how technical you had to be. And then criminal justice, I thought the cases were very interesting. I really enjoyed it. I loved all of my professors this semester. I thought they were great. It's kind of weird to be done with 1L because it doesn't really feel like we're done. It feels like it was a very, very long sprint, and now I feel mentally and physically exhausted, but I have to start work on Wednesday, which I'm actually really excited about because I think it'll be a good experience. I can't remember if I already told you, but I will be working at one of the courts, and so I think that'll be fun. I think it'll be a good experience. So my last exam was on a Friday, and I went to a concert afterwards, which was great. I had seen this person before, went to see Griffin, and then the rest of the weekend I spent sleeping. I did walk around one day and look at the cherry blossoms, go into a couple of bookstores, but for most of the weekend I was sleeping. I was horizontal, which is all I wanted to be.
Look at the big dog.
This is a one-way street, right?
Go walk.
Okay, so a couple of things that I want to do this summer. I want to be outside a lot more and really soak up the sun because this winter was pretty brutal. It was very, very cold and very, very windy. So you always have to appreciate when the sun is out in Boston because you never know. It may rain the next day or the sun may leave, whatever. The wind may suddenly turn cold. It's just, you gotta appreciate every single warm day. So I want to go outside more. I want to get to some of the books on my bookshelves that I haven't actually read yet, especially to all the thrillers on my bookshelf because I get freaked out really easily and I don't want to read it during spooky season or during winter because I think I will struggle to sleep. But when the weather is nice outside, I feel like everything is a little happier, so it's kind of a little harder to get freaked out. I particularly want to get to this book series that my sister has been raving about because she's been telling me to read it, but I haven't had the time because I had to do school. So now that it's summer, I definitely want to get into that. I'm looking at my shelves right now and I'm trying to see what book I want to start with. I think I will probably actually start with the series that my sister wants me to read, but a couple of thrillers. I read this one last summer. Was the writing good? No, but it was really creepy. So I do have the second book, which is, and the twist was pretty good. So I might start with Doy's book series and then also read this at the same time so that if I get creeped out with this one, then I can go back to the other one, which seems a little bit more fun. I think her book series is science fiction, I want to say, but I'll ask her about it later. Remind me. And then I also want to catch up with a couple of my friends who I haven't seen in a while. My parents are coming in June, so I want to take them to the Cape because they haven't been to Cape Cod. I'm trying to think what else they want to do because I feel like they've seen a lot of it. Oh, wait. Mads, if you're watching, I owe you a letter. I know I do. I haven't sent you a letter in so long, but I was thinking of what to send you in the letter, and when I was in the bookstore, I got a couple of things. So I got this magnet, which says Boston. I thought it was really cute. And then I also got this cat sticker because it really looks like your cat. It looks like Kora. There was a couple of other cat stickers, but it really looks like your cat. So I had to get this one. So I will send you a letter soon. Okay, also as a completely random side note, every time I've gone somewhere, I've tried to look for a postcard to send to my friends. I looked when I went to Miami, I looked when I went to the Philippines, but apparently nobody sells postcards anymore. I went to the Philippines and they were like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I went to the bookstore. I think we also went to a bunch of, what do you call it? Like the places where they sell the tourist, like the tourist knick-knack stuff. The word escapes me right now, but there were no postcards anywhere. So I've been looking for a postcard to send and I haven't found one. So that's why I went with stickers and a magnet instead. I actually have nothing better to do for the next 30 minutes or so until I have to leave, so I'm just gonna sit here and chat with you. I guess the only problem is I don't really know what to say. I guess we can talk about how the whole of 1L went. I think that if I had the chance to redo this whole situation over again, I would still choose to go to law school. I think the whole experience has validated my choice. I think that every assignment and every exam, no matter what the outcome was, it's just validated my decision. I felt like, oh, I'm good at this and I like this and this is what I want to do. I think one of my really bad toxic traits is that I'm really enthusiastic about things in the very beginning and I'm so excited to get started and I have all these ideas and all these grand plans. My mom can attest to this, but I think maybe halfway through I lose steam and I'm like, oh, actually, I am no longer interested in this. I don't want to do this anymore. But this whole year I have had to be dedicated and I have had to have discipline and see everything through. And I think I'm just proud of myself for consistently working hard throughout the year and finishing strong. I think that's one of my biggest takeaways is that I can do hard things and I can do them consistently. I think that I've learned how to manage my time and how to prioritize activities. I think that I was successful in my goal of making time for other activities and people, maybe not as much as I would have liked, but enough that I felt like I had a good balance of both living life and doing school. I think that I've really had to learn to say no to some things, say yes to other things, and really just be flexible, I think. I think in law school, a lot of assignments get thrown at you at the very last minute. A lot of things kind of just popped up. They weren't in the syllabus, we weren't told about them, but the day before we were told, oh, you have to do this. And it's like, oh, but I had all these plans that I now have to rearrange. And so it's a balancing act, and I think I did pretty well. I don't really know what to expect for my second year. Everyone says that it sort of gets easier, but I'm like, does it really know. So we'll see. I'm excited. Next year we get to pick our subjects. I'm looking forward to it. I haven't actually looked at the class list yet, or like the subjects that are available, but I think it'll be good. I think it'll be fun. I don't really know what else we can chat about because that's kind of all I have. And lots of people ask me what's been going on in my life, and honestly, not a lot. This whole semester has just been school, more school, even more school, and applying to jobs. That's kind of it. I really, really have not done a lot this semester. I think last semester I was pretty good. I went out, did a bunch of things. This semester I was like, oh man, too many things going on. So I honestly don't have a lot to tell you. Yeah. But I'm hoping this summer there'll be a lot of fun things to do other than working. Yeah. When people say that working is better than being in school, honestly, they were kind of right. Because when I was working, I thought that being in school was better because, I got to manage my own time. I didn't have classes from 9 to 5. I had classes for an hour maybe in a day, or 3 hours in total for the whole day, and then I had the rest of the day off. I could manage my own time. But guys, law school is like 24/7. You have classes every single day. You don't have classes for the whole day, but every class block is at least an hour or an hour and a half. I think the shortest class that I had this semester was an hour and a half, and my longest class was 3 hours. And after class, I still have to do school. I have so much reading and so many assignments. Time was not my own, really. I think that when you have a job, you go in at 9, you get out at 5. At 5 p.m., you don't have to keep thinking about your job. Like, yes, you have to be there for the entire 9 to 5 period. But, the weekends are yours. You don't have to do any work on the weekend. You don't have to do work after work. And in school, all I'm doing is school. So, yeah. But I did this to myself. I chose to go back to school, which honestly, I'm a nerd, so I like school. I like learning. But I'm also like, wow, I did this to myself. I had a pretty good job. Didn't have to think about it after 5. Now I'm doing school 24/7. And we're not even getting paid to go to school. In fact, we are paying to go to school. So, yeah. I miss getting a paycheck. I miss getting a paycheck and feeling like, oh, I could buy that if I wanted to. Now I'm like, do I need that? Because I also have to pay tuition. So, yeah. There's that. But I mean, I love school. So, I still stand by everything I said. I think it was a good decision that I went back to school. But I do miss having a regular, predictable schedule and a consistent paycheck. I had a half day at work today. Well, it's my first day at work, but we're only doing a half day, I'm pretty sure. So this is what I'm wearing. My hair is a little funky because I slept on it wet last night. So it has a little crease over here, but whatever. This is my first day at work outfit with my shoes.
Here, I'll show you a close-up.
I love these shoes because they're my cowboy boots in sneaker form.
So, top, and then slacks.
I got told business formal or business casual, so I'm thinking this is business casual. And then watch for my sister, same bracelets, just my regular 2-stack earrings. Okay, bye. I'm gonna tell you something, but I don't want you to hold me accountable, okay? I don't want to hear anybody say, "You said you were gonna do this." No. Okay? No. One of the things that I want to start doing is running, even though I hate running because my family has a history of heart problems, and I just don't want to ever have to get a heart operation. Anyway, I would much rather swim, but it's kind of hard to swim in Boston because, you know, the weather is kind of temperamental. It costs a lot to go to the pool, and then the free pool is always filled with like random people and only open at certain times. Whatever. There's a gym in my building, so it's much easier to run, and or running is free outside. But I really hate running, so I don't want to be held accountable to keep running. But might as well try. It's the summer. It's a good time to try new things. Yeah, so don't hold me accountable. If I decide to give up on running, then, you know, don't ask me about it. We're just gonna try. I'm not out here trying to run a marathon or anything, just trying to, you know, make my heart a little healthier.
Say hi.
I chickened out from running. There were too many people at the gym. I just did weights and stuff. I was too scared to run. Next time. We'll try again next time. Yeah, first day of internship yesterday. It was pretty good. It was only half a day, and I got a tour of the courthouse. I met a bunch of people, watched a bunch of intro materials and stuff. Yeah, I think it'll be fun. I think it'll be a good summer. I'm really excited. I don't really want to say anything else just because everything is confidential. If you know my mom, you can ask her where I'm working and what I'm doing, but I think it's going to be a lot of research and writing, so that'll be fun. And then I'm working from home today. That's why I'm in my usual spot. And I might have lunch soon. But yeah, that's kind of it.
It's in the box.
Okay, promo it for me.
Promo it for you?
Yeah.
It's like Avatar: The Last Airbender, but instead of like different elements, it's like all metal. So like different types of metal have like different powers.
Wait, Avatar: The Last Airbender? I wasn't expecting it to be like Avatar: The Last Airbender. I thought it would be like...
But it's more serious than that. Yeah, it's not like I mean, obviously Avatar is like kids show, right?
Uh-huh.
This one's like people are dying. Oh yeah, okay, so you read it and then you're kind of like in the beginning you're like, what is happening, you know?
Uh-huh.
But then you figure out what's happening and you're like, oh, interesting, okay, cool. And then it's like interesting, and then I forgot how the first one ends. Oh, and then the first one ends and you're like, whoa, wait, that broke some rules. And then the second one you're like reading and then let me remember it. Today is not a good brain day. Oh yeah, then the second one you're like, whoa, it's like serious. And then for a little bit you're a bit like, I don't know if I'm feeling this. But just like a really short moment, and then after a while you're like, oh yeah, I remember why I like these books. And then you keep going, and then you like find stuff out, and you're like, oh dear. And then you're like, oh gosh, is bad things gonna happen? And then
you're invested in the third book.
And then you're like, huh? You know? You're like, wait, what just happened? And then you're like, dang it, I gotta like start the third book because you're like, I didn't know you could do that, you know?
Okay.
So then the third book happens and then you're like, get the perspective of a character that you like had probably forgotten about.
Okay.
And you're just like, oh, the poor man, you know? Oh, and like, okay, so all the chapters have these little like excerpts.
Okay.
At the beginning. And so it's like kind of fun. You're like, when you first read it, you're like, the heck, you know? But then as you're going, it like ties into those things. And then it's like who wrote those things, and also like why are those things important? Because those things are important. Stuff happens, you find out more stuff.
Is there a romance?
Is there a romance? Yeah. But it's like,
It's like subplot.
yeah, well, it's like, it's important, but it's definitely not the main thing, and it's definitely not like,
You're rooting for them?
no, you are rooting for them. Like, there are no other options.
Oh.
Like it happens and you're like, okay. You know, like, it's just like part of the story. It's not like a, oh, what's gonna happen? Like, is she gonna get with this guy? No, like, you're like,
It's him.
okay.
Okay.
You know, like, and then they're like ride or die. You
Oh,
know?
okay.
So you're like, okay, whatever. And then it's important because they're ride or die
Okay.
type of thing. And then third book ends and you're like, I think it depends on you and how you read it.
Okay.
But it's definitely like kind of a plot twist. And
Okay.
and then you're like, huh? And then like stuff happens and you're like sad but you're happy, I guess.
Okay.
Or like you're like sad and you're like kind of happy and you're kind of like, but I want to know more, but there's not actually anything more to know because like it wrapped up, you know?
Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
So then you gotta like pause.
Okay.
You know, because you're like, I'm not sure that I can go like straight into a whole nother world of book
Okay.
with this like still like reeling in my head, you know? No, it's really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is an awkward sized book. Look at how small the text is.
Early in the series, there's this sentence. Okay, I read it so wrong. Like the difference between like, there's a dead body in your kitchen and like, I hung up a picture in your kitchen is the difference.
What?
Of this sentence that I read wrong. Okay, like I was so confused. So I spent the whole rest of the entire series to the end of the third book waiting for the reveal of like, I finished the book. They never touch on it again. In my head, at least. Like, they totally did, but like, from my understanding, they never understood. Never. And then the book ends, and I was like, I have this sneaking suspicion I read that wrong. So I had to reverse and try and find the chapter again. It was so wrong. It was like wildly wrong. And then it's like, you're like, I don't know, like part of me is like, I kind of want to read more of his books because obviously he reads.
They're fat though. They're real
so fat. And there's so many. Did you see this stack? Like there's a whole ass stack. I'm like, I don't know if I'm ready for that commitment. Also, like books are so expensive.
You can go to the
Not
library.
rich.
You can get that app, Libby, and you can borrow books.
Borrow them.
Yeah, you can also, if you have a Kindle, you can send them to your Kindle. I recently read a book. This was supposed to be like a mystery thriller type of vibe.
The one you just read?
Yeah, it was like, it was
Which
about
one was
this, it's called The Unwedding. This woman just got divorced from her husband, and they were supposed to go, okay, fine.
No,
you can just chat.
Yeah.
Okay, so this woman was married and it was gonna be their 20th wedding anniversary, but then she got divorced. But before the divorce, on their 20th wedding anniversary, they were gonna go to this island resort situation that's like apparently super expensive. There's a lot of like good art there, and you get to just be one with nature is the vibe. Oh my goodness, that's how much you put?
I said 3 teaspoons.
Yeah, teaspoons!
This is a teaspoon.
That's a teaspoon?
Yeah.
Yeah, you heap the teaspoon?
Look, this is a regular spoon. Like,
Yeah, okay, show me how much chocolate you put in. There was way more than that, bro. There was way more. Yeah, I was like, what?
like that much. That's like one. That's one. Oh my gosh! So like today, I brought my pancakes in.
Can you tell the story of how many pancakes you have first?
For breakfast, I have 1 cup of pancake mix and 1 cup of milk, and then I mix it together and microwave it in the bowl. And apparently, according to the box, that's 6 4-inch pancakes. So like that big. See, 6 of them. I think is like not that crazy. Also because it's not like I'm eating them with like, I'm not like putting butter on every single one and like pouring maple, like I just like stab it in the bowl and pour some honey, and then sometimes I put yogurt instead of honey, but whatever. Anyway, point is, people at work found out. And they were very shocked because they were like, what the heck, man, that's a lot of pancakes. So then they were like, oh, we gotta try this pancake breakfast situation you got going on.
Oh.
We tried it today, and Ellen brought in these bowls, and they were like not big enough to hold the thing, so it was like over, like as it like microwaved it grew.
Oh my goodness.
And as we were mixing it the whole time, I couldn't stop laughing because Ellen was like, what the heck, man, this is like an obscene amount of pancake. We had that at like, 10-ish, and then, naturally at 12, I was like, it's lunchtime, let's go. And they were like, what the heck, man? No, it's not. It couldn't possibly be lunchtime because we just ate this massive, super dense microwave pancake. And then, so then I had to wait until 1 before they were like, okay, Matt was like, oh yeah, I'm actually kind of hungry now. And Ellen was like, I don't understand how you could possibly be hungry.
It doesn't look that big though.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It just, her bowls were like, our bowls are like a little spread, right? They're
Yeah.
like that. Her bowls were like a little more narrow.
Yeah.
So then it just became deeper, So it just looked big, is what I'm saying. And they were like, it's overflowing, so it has to be like insane amounts of pancake. And the whole day, Ellen's just like, I ate like a kilo of pancakes today. And then, oh yeah, because I brought my measuring cup because I was like, I'll bring my measuring cup. Actually, this is the cup, right? Okay, this is the cup. And they were both like, are you sure that's a cup? That doesn't look like a cup. Why is it you?
Oh man.
Also, I would just like to say, I don't know how they couldn't be hungry because I had what did I have? I had a glass of milk and some raspberries before we even had the pancakes because I was starving. And then we had the pancakes and 12 o'clock, lunchtime. Apparently not. I was just about to ask, did you ever finish your story? I don't think you did, but...
Okay, no, it was not, it's not very good. It was just like this.
It can't be worse than your TikTok book. That was horrid.
Then my what?
Your TikTok book?
What's the TikTok book?
The last ebook that you gave me, I said, yo, I finished my book, can you give me another one? And then you gave me that, what was, she's like a siren cross vampire.
Oh, I remember.
Yeah, and she starts singing WAP to lure in some dude or something. I was like, what the heck?
Okay, that was a TikTok recommendation. That was bad. I could only get through 2 chapters and I was like, what is this cringy book?
It's so
I can't
bad.
read this.
Embarrassingly bad. We don't have any more milk. Do we have oat milk?
Oh yeah, there's oat milk. I thought you were gonna make mine with oat milk.
Oh. I
Okay.
didn't know that there was oat milk.
Okay. No, basically what happened was there's this couple. I said the same sentence 10 times now. There's this couple. They book this island vacation, super cool, on the resort, and then they get divorced. And the husband is like, oh, you should still go on this vacation because you put down a really expensive deposit or whatever, and you should just make use of it. And she's like, yeah, I want to go because I don't want him to use the resort with his girlfriend or whatever. So they go, and then when she goes, she finds out that there's a wedding party at the resort, and actually
It's her husband.
no, it's not her husband. Her husband is watching their 3 kids with his girlfriend.
Oh.
They all went camping, but this is a young couple who's about to get married. The mom is the curator of the art at the island, and so she was able to get them a really big discount on the island, whatever. On the day of the wedding, the groom never appears and he's murdered. So she goes for an early morning swim and she finds his body floating in the pool.
Oh my.
And everyone's like, oh my gosh, this guy never turned up at the wedding. It turns out he was dead. And then
Oh, wait. So she just thought she got stood up.
yeah, Yeah, she
She's
thought
like,
that
at the altar.
they basically all got this group text that was like, sorry, can't do it. And then they thought that he just left. But then the next morning, turns out he's dead. And they're like, oh my gosh, what the frick? Like, who killed this man? And then that same day, this giant storm comes and basically breaks the bridge between the island and the rest of civilization. They have no Wi-Fi, no signal, whatever. And then the next day, another one of the guys from the, what do you call it? One of the groomsmen, he is also murdered. He was like suspiciously fell off a cliff. Yeah. And so then they're like, oh my gosh, there's a serial killer on the loose. This woman and these two other people that she meets and kind of befriends are trying to figure out who the killer is. And I would say for the first half of the book, you were kind of invested because you were like, oh, this is a cool story, and like it's set in this like interesting island. They're talking about the art that's on the island because the art is like kind of like curated and like weird sculptures and whatever, and you get a little bit of like what the meaning behind the art is and who the artists are. But then the last quarter of the book, when you kind of find out what happened, it was like just, huh? Like,
it was lame.
That's it? Like, what do you mean? Yeah, I was like, that is not at all like what I thought it would be. And also, it was not a good plot twist. It was just kind of lame. It was like building, and then it was like, flip. And I was like, huh? Wait, I wanted more, you know?
Maybe they were trying to plot twist the plot twist and accidentally untwisted.
Yeah, if I had to rate it, I would have given it like 2 stars, except 2 stars seems mean, so I just give it 3. Because it wasn't a bad read, and it was written well, and the first 50 to 75% of the book was interesting, and I would have kept reading, and then the last bit was like,
I give it also 5.
You would give this a 5?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know.
The third one, like maybe 6. The second one, like maybe 4.5.
I feel like the
think
second
it's
one always has a kind of dip.
Yeah, exactly.
The result.
Was it good?
It is good.
Oh, see?
You put in 3 heaping teaspoons of this thing,
I
and
just like to say a serving size is 2.5. Okay, so I really only overshot like half a teaspoon.
Tomorrow.
No. Like you'll get to like here, you know, and then you'll like understand.
No, then I won't be able to sleep because I'll want to keep reading.
Yeah, that's true. Never mind. Start tomorrow.
Okay, that's all for the week. Bye!